Good morning, you beautiful people. I'm still disheveled, a mess, tired, and scruffy. I'm not in the shower today. I'm still just reveling in last night's performance. Manchester City 2, Spurs 0. We've destroyed and annihilated and hopefully put to bed the Spurs curse. 2 victories this season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 1 in the FA Cup, of course, and last night, the biggest of them all, to put the destiny of the Premier League in our hands on the last day of this season against West Ham United. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this weekend. It is going to be momentous. It is going to be huge. And we've absolutely deserved to be where we are right now. Never in doubt, says Danny. I love that confidence, my friend. Hello to Nico, Archive, and Cyper, and Dash Mess in the chat. If you're watching live, please do me a massive favour. Please give the video a like. And, of course, let me know your comments in the chat. Of course, as always, any super chats or likes or subscribes are massively appreciated. Get your thoughts in. It is always welcome. This is 5 things that I learned. Audio's a bit delayed. I don't know why it's doing that at the moment. I apologise. I'm not sure. Oh, it's Mark. Oh, nice. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Name change. The audio keeps doing it. I can't stop the audio from doing that without, starting again. I'll unplug the mic and see if it does any difference. Makes a difference. Hopefully that makes a difference. No, a little bit delayed. I don't know what to do, but I think I have to restart OBS, unfortunately. And yeah, but anyway, guys, City last night, of course, 2-0. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. These are 5 things that I took from the game. There's loads more to talk about in general than the 5 things. Watch the match reaction last night for that. But let's go into the 5 things that we learned. Let me know your 5 things as well, and let's see if they match up. The first thing we've got to start, man. Ortega has to stay. Quite simply, Ortega has to stay. Absolutely massive. Guardiola said last night after the game, but he said last night that Ortega is one of the best keepers he's ever seen in one-on-ones. And I think it's absolutely true. Ortega, I don't mean this as a dig at Ederson because I think he's brilliant, but I don't think Ederson could have done what Ortega did last night towards the end. He couldn't have done it. He absolutely couldn't because I think Ortega is a better shot stopper. Ederson may be the better all-around keeper, potentially. I don't know. But the levels between them are so close. And as a pure shot stopper, Ortega, it's him. He's absolutely brilliant. Manchester City have got a fight in their hands here to keep him because we all know the quality that Ortega's got. We know the quality that Ederson's got. And we know that many teams around the world would love a number 1 like Ortega. When you've had the performance that you have last night, winning the man of the match in a game of that magnitude, and when you see what he's done for Manchester City this season, it's hard not to draw the conclusion that this guy is not a 30, 40 million pound goalkeeper. And many teams would take him. I look around the Premier League, the other teams, and I think, look, he's better than Arsenal's keepers. He's better than Raya. He's better than Ramsdale. Obviously, Alisson to be happy with. He's as good as Martinez at Villa. He's as good as Vicario. I mean, I don't see anyone else better than him at the point. He's better than Chelsea United's keepers, man, by a way. After that, who is he? I don't think anyone. I think he's in the top few. I mean, he's better than Ederson, the shot stopper. I absolutely agree. I understand why he might even be better overall. I don't know, but the point is, I just love having them both, and I'm genuinely happy with either playing. I'm not even lying. I'm always honest. The point is, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. And I understand if he wanted to move on. There's another way to paint it. You've got to bear in mind that I know he was great for Arminia Bielefeld. I butchered that. But he was great for them. But they've just been relegated to the second tier of the German league, and he was 29 years old. He was doing really well there, but he has come from relative obscurity, not total obscurity, but City have elevated him to another level. He has to be grateful for that. His reputation was already good, but it's gone global right now. And that, to me, look, we could talk about him wanting to be somewhere else, but he could also be very grateful for the opportunities he's got in Manchester City, where he's a big part of a very special side, and he plays pretty regularly. Let's not like he doesn't play ever. He plays the cup games, and Guardiola, unlike most keepers, does actually play him in the final if we get there. So it's one of the things where you talk about him not playing enough, but he does play a lot of football and he's a great keeper. So we could hopefully try and convince him to stay with a nice big pay rise, and then maybe some sort of release clause for next season. I would say to him, look, we'll let you go for 20 million if you don't want to be here next season, and that's a good deal, After that, I mean, next summer, a year from now, give him a contract extension, double his wages because he deserves it. 50k a week. Well, there we go. Give him a minimum 100k a week. He probably isn't about 50k a week. That's probably about right, I would say. Get him over 100k a week. I know he's just a backup goalkeeper, but he's good enough for that, man. I think there's a chance he stays. Yeah, mainly because I don't know. Yeah, I think there is a chance. I think he's German, and Germans are pragmatic. You know, as you said, there's worse places to be, and what that sounds like negative unless you understand the colloquialism of that, which means it's pretty good here, you know. I'm very lucky to have here. So I think he's made everyone better. I think he's made Ederson better. So keep him if you can, Manchester City. Second thing I want to talk about personally is that Gvardiol is ridiculous. I was saying, and I feel justified now. You remember, yeah, you probably remember early on in the season when a lot of people go, why is he playing left back? He should play centre back. Put him here, blah, 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 blah. And my argument was always that as long as he's not playing terribly, I trust that Guardiola is doing it for a reason, because it's easier to learn at that left back than it is centre back, and it's easier for Guardiola to sort of trust Gvardiol's technical ability and ease him in that way. And I always felt as long as he wasn't playing badly out wide, let him stay there, let him learn it. Because Guardiola obviously saw something in his technical ability, his understanding to get there. And I felt he is more technical than Ake going forward. And he does have that steeliness. And now we're seeing the fruits of the labour. You know, we're seeing that Guardiola was right to play Vardy out wide. And it's how I always felt like. As long as he's on the pitch learning and not being terrible, I'm fine. Absolutely fine with him being wherever he is on the pitch. I wanted him on the pitch. That was it. And it was at times a little bit clunky. But once again, as we've learned a billion times, you know, we just need to wait and see it out. He was so good yesterday, man. He was the calmest player on the pitch yesterday. There's one occasion where he got the ball. Like, he does that, you know, that little drag thing where you go one foot to the other foot, you go, did it. And, like, Phil Foden does it a lot, and Hazard does it a lot. Gvardiol does it a lot. Josko Gvardiol, our left-back, centre-back defender, does that drag between 2 feet skill, which is, you know, the trademark of attacking midfielders with dribblers. He's so good, man. He's brilliant. And the levels that he will reach, and he will reach those levels, sort of scare me. I think he's just turned 22? That's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely. Only 22 years old, you're right, Umarungi in the chat. The ridiculous Croqueta, that's the one. Is that what it's called? But look, I did that, by the way, when I was a kid. I was pretty good at that. I used to do a lot. I think it just sort of comes naturally to some people, and I'm not saying I'm Gvardiol, but I mean, look at that, you know. That's like me in peak physical condition, isn't it? You know, there we go. If I worked out, that's what I'd look like, I guess. But basically, yeah, a phenomenal footballer. And I think imagine him at 27. Oh, like, I've always said he reminds me of Gerard Piqué that way. If you watch Gerard Piqué at peak Barcelona, Piqué's peak. Iniesta did a lot too, he did, yeah. But if you watch peak Piqué, he used to get the ball at centre-back and he'd just drive forward and play 1-2s with Xavi and Iniesta, Dani Alves, Messi. And he'd be all of a sudden, he'd be on the edge of the area playing great football. And it was just, I loved watching Piqué, even though he was an ex-United guy. And I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And that's what Gvardiol reminds me of, that same level of confidence and relentless ability. His ceiling is absurdly high. Absurdly high. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, from Nathan. Thank you so much, my man. From the Man City Discord. Check it out if you haven't already. An absolute legend, Nathan. Says, thank you for all the content all season, Stephen. A relentless creating machine and the perfect companion to a long and eventful 23-24. Thank you so much, man. I actually think I've been shite this year. Like, maybe I'm being self-deprecating there. I know I've done some good videos, but I guess I've been in my own head as a new dad, trying to learn how to balance being a stay-at-home dad with creating content. I've absolutely struggled, but the fact that you guys are always here tuning in, watching these videos and supporting, it does mean the world to me. And one day the channel will get better and bigger. I know it will, but right now I just feel like I'm keeping my head above the water and keeping it going while Ruben grows up and I just sort of find my routine again, if that makes sense. But I'm glad that you guys appreciate it. It's massively appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Massively appreciated. Oh, I haven't got time for the gym, Nico. No chance, my friend. For all the reasons I just mentioned. The third thing I want to talk about is Erling Haaland once again silencing critics. Look, I had the realization, which I've mentioned a few times now, a couple of weeks ago, that we were being gaslit about Erling Haaland. And yes, he does need to improve, as every 23, 22-year-old does. 23-year-old needs to do. They need to improve. That's natural in some areas of his game. But this idea that in just scoring goals isn't enough, it's just ridiculous. 38 goals now for Erling Haaland, and he missed 2 months of the season. It's absurd how good he is. The reference point, of course, is what everyone else has achieved in the Premier League. And this down season, in inverted commas, every other single striker on this planet would take it. Every single striker. And this is his down season. But it's one of those things where, I feel justified for backing him, and I feel justified for, let's just not get ourselves gaslit by other fans, and we fall for it, and I fall for it, and we do it because the narrative becomes so strong. But that narrative is not sincere. The narrative around Haaland comes from a place of sort of jealousy and bitterness. They don't even realise they're doing it, some of them, but I guarantee you it's there for a reason. Because they'd hate Man City succeeding, and it's easy to knock someone down once you've built them up. Haaland, everyone wants him to fail, but last night, once again, and he was involved, by the way, he worked really hard. He had 2 moments in that game, 2 opportunities in front of goal, and he put him in the back of the net. Obviously it was a tap-in, good movement, but the penalty to do that last minute, by the way, with so much on the line, and there is pressure. Son had just missed the 1-on-1. This goal would obviously certify City's win, with the Premier League staring down in our face, and the quality of that penalty is just absolutely massive, and he's been in wonderful form with the last few games, Haaland, banging the goals in. And I think he's got a lot to say in the last day of the season and in the FA Cup final. I think he's going to end in over 40 goals again this season. I think he's going to get a couple at least against United and West Ham. So there, 40 plus goals I think he'll get. Stupid, deserved, wonderful man, one of our own. Love you, Erling Haaland. Foden last night, yet again, absolutely wonderful. Genuinely wonderful. Such a fantastic player. Yeah, just so good. A brilliant footballer. Last night, there were signs of Foden. We know he's the main man anyway, but there were signs last night of Phil Foden sort of calming Man City down in that second half. We know we talk about Foden being dynamic, and Guardiola saying he plays a lot in 5th gear, and every now and then he needs to slow it down. I thought last night Phil Foden showed those signs. This was not Phil Foden's best ever game, but this was a game where he was quietly brilliant. You look about the moments where, for the first goal, he decided to bring it down and go past the man to get the crossing, which led, of course, to De Bruyne's overlap and goal. Or you look about, you look at the beautiful Silva-esque or De Bruyne-esque volley out wide to Doku that led to the penalty. Then you look at him gliding past people in midfield, look at him working back and tracking back. And you look at Phil Foden as a young lad in his 20s, early 23, playing like a 28, 29-year-old. A man who is now, I think there's only De Bruyne who's had more time around the first team squad than Foden. Literally, Foden joined the Manchester City squad in the 17-18 season. Of course, people have played more games, Ederson, Bernardo, Kyle Walker, but they've only been around the squad in the same length as Phil Foden, which is absurd. Phil Foden is joint second in terms of seasons. Oh, third, sorry. De Bruyne and Stones. That's it. Joint third in terms of seasons in his first team. He's extremely, extremely well experienced now. And he's a massive part of this Manchester City side. I love it, man. I love it. And I'm buzzing for him. He's showing signs of stepping up. And that photo, by the way, I wanted to use that photo for a reason. I mean, look at him there. Wearing a Manchester City scarf with a classic, the old logo. Yeah, with a parrot on, as you call it. The 3 stars, which now could retro. I think we knew what was coming. That was signifying the treble, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I love him, man. Foden is a main man and wonderful. And finally, the last thing that we learned from this game of football: the Immortals are loading. Do you reckon that'll kick stick? The Immortals with a foreign? I don't know, man. I don't know, but we are so close to immortality. Annoyingly, Formidables is already taken, isn't it? But that would be perfect. We are 1 game away. Immortals. Jesus, man. The stars represented nothing, I think, Nico. I think they were just added decoratively. Did we have... I don't think they did. Let me just double check something. I'm pretty certain they represented nothing, because I think we had 2 league titles before the change. It was a horrible game, by the way. That was stressful. No, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, no, they represented nothing because we had 2 league titles, so it wasn't league titles before that at the time. It wasn't FA Cups because we had more FA Cups. The Stars. I mean, the Stars now retroactively represent the treble. It's funny, it's like someone called Red Mist, by the way. He's just getting angry in the chat. But anyway, we are one game away from doing something that's never happened before, creating history. 4 in a row, and I'd be buzzing to see it, absolutely buzzing to see it. This City side have deserved it, and Guardiola has deserved it. And as much as people disagree with me, like yourself in the chat, Nico, ultimately, I think I've been proven right when I say that. Just give this team a chance, give Guardiola a chance to sort it out, and I think we've got enough. Are we as good as last season? Maybe not. Are we good enough to win the league? I've always said yes, we are, and you have to be calm. You have to trust the process. You have to trust that Manchester City will find a way. And yeah, we made a few mistakes here and there, but it was always a case of people throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You don't have to pretend everything's terrible all the time. You know, some people actually were still fantastic, even if we have made the odd mistake here. And I think this City side are remarkable. Absolutely brilliant. You know, you look at the contributions of Kovacic, a man that was maligned by a lot of people to this team. Another a wonderful sort of supporting cast display alongside Rodri. He's been crucial in the last few games. Doku coming in. I've not even mentioned him in this video. Doku with a massive contribution. Ortega's a good signing. And I know there's some missteps. Looks like Nunes isn't that guy. Phillips isn't that guy. But Gvardiol looks like to be worth every single penny. And you go through the transfers of this summer. Doku's been a great signing. I think Kovacic is a great signing. I think Gvardiol's a great signing. Nunes, the jury's massively out. I don't think it's happened for yet. But overall, I think City, you know, I think things look good. Things look good. And it wasn't a world class, but it was a decent summer that gave us enough for Guardiola to do what he hopefully can do this summer. They're the 5 things that I learned. Thank you so much, by the way, to Sean. He's become a member. You're an absolute legend. Sean, thank you so much, my friend. Guys, what are the 5 things that you learned? Do let me know. Not a long video because my mum's out with Ruben and Ruben will be back soon. So I'm going to sort of wrap it up here. But last night was just, it was horrible. It was nerve-wracking. It was stressful. It was ugly. But we got the job done. West Ham at home to win the league. West Ham want us to win the league. Watch Man City lose. It'll be horrible, won't it? I don't know. I trust this City side. In a bit, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Bye-bye.